Hello guys, today I want to show you how I made the back probe pins, something like that. Um, so most time I use this type of back probe pins. They work fine. Sometimes I found that the pin itself is a little bit short when it needs to be, and one of the biggest things that I don't like, I mean they're fine, but like I use these cheap, for my picoscope I had these cheap Huntec leads, and when I put these in, they're really tight and they're hard to get apart. So because this plastic is kind of thick, so I made something like this, which slides in a lot easier and stays in pretty good. So for this, and also I'm going to make a couple more adapters. I've been using this for a while now. It works pretty good. I made some adapters that really works well on the different, like if you work in a tight space and your connector is kind of recessed, or I made kind of adapter that we can actually really use it and make the job a lot easier. So anyway, for this I'm going to use a banana connectors. You can find these on eBay pretty cheap. I'm going to leave a link in the description for this. Actually there's two different ones. One is a 4mm and one is a 2mm, and again they're pretty cheap. So I'm going to use both of these to make my back probe pin. So the first step, I'm just going to use a T-pin, and what you get at Walmart. You know, other thing about this, if you can find the smaller T-pins and make the smaller gauge back probe pin, that works well as well. So the first step, I'm gonna cut this end off, and so we're going to end up something like this. Okay, so the next step I'm going to use I want to flatten this a little bit. It fits better, and the solder it's not going to get loose. So I'm going to get you guys on the okay. So the end that I cut that end off, I'm just going to put it here, and I'm just going to tap it a little bit. Okay, so you're going to have something like this. I just want to flatten the end a little bit so it's going to fit into the what I'm going to do is going to fit a little bit better. So the next step will be take the small one, the small 2mm banana adapter, and we're going to use a deeper end, and it's going to actually use to connect the male end to it, and we're going to fill it up with a solder, and then we're going to solder this pin like so. Okay, so that's going to be the first step. Now for this, I'm using a torch, a propane. I find it a lot easier to use than a solder gun. You guys can use whatever you want to use. It works. Solder gun works as well, but this kind of just was a little faster. It works a little faster, I believe. So okay, so I'm gonna. Now when you do this, if you're using a blowtorch, try to keep the heat on the connector. Don't heat up your T-pin. You may get brittle or something. So okay, so I'm gonna fill it up the deeper hole first on the small banana adapter. Now what I do, kind of move it a little bit so and just kind of take your time so you can fill up the whole. There you go. All right, a little bit more. See, the bubbles up a little bit, so okay, so this will work. So now I'm going to take my T-pin and put it in in here. Okay. You're going to move it a little bit left and right so the solder gets in pretty good. So. Okay, so just hold it for a minute until it cools down. Alright, and this part is good. This one is kind of on the side a little bit. It really doesn't make a difference. It's fine. So now you're gonna have some this. You want to kind of cut it off. You don't want any solder to stick out because you're gonna put the shrink tube over that. So if you want, you can just use a file and just kind of file it down. Actually, on this one doesn't really matter, the smaller one, because I'll show you what we're gonna do next. So okay. Anyway, this is the first step, and if you want, you can kind of tug it a little bit to make sure it's good and snug. So this one is not coming out. That's why you want to flatten that end, so it kind of makes it more rough. So it's here to solder a lot better. So this one is okay. So anyway, so the next step will be to take the 4mm banana adapter female again, and this time we're going to use a shallow end. Okay, so so this is a little deeper end now. So this is going to be used for for your testing, to put your male part in. Okay, so anyway, so we're going to use the shallow end and fill it up with the solder. And be careful, don't tighten it down too much. You're gonna damage your adapter. So again, you just fill it up. Okay. Next step will be to take your T-pin and we're gonna connect this together. Again, I keep away your heat from your T-pin. Move it around a little bit and keep it straight as best as you can. It's not really that big of a deal, but okay. See that? Just hold it just for a little longer until it cools down. You guys can see what I'm doing? Yeah, okay. Okay, I mean it's a very simple process. I mean you can see what and so now you're going to end up with something like this. Okay, camera's focus on it. Okay, I don't know why it's not, camera is not focusing right. So anyway, so now you're gonna see we have a little bit of excess solder, so I'm just gonna cut that off. It's already cool. So you can actually hold it already. So this is what it's gonna look like. So now I'm gonna take the I'm gonna cut this off, and if you want to do, you can use file now to just file this down, these rough edges, and okay, that looks pretty good. And now we're just going to use a shrink tube and put the shrink tube over. Sorry about that. So I'm going to use a 2 different size of a shrink tube. I'm going to put the smaller one over this, and it's not really important, but I just want to do it. So I'm going to slide it down to cover this smaller part of the, like that, and then I'm going to use the bigger one and cover everything off. Okay, I'm going to take the bigger one, measure it, cut it, and then slide it over. Okay, so something like this. So I got one smaller tube here, and I'm going to slide another one over. And what we're going to do now, we're going to take the heat gun and heat up the shrink tube, and you're done. Okay, this is what you're gonna end up with. Sorry guys, I don't know why the camera is not focusing. Okay, so that's it. Very simple, very easy to make. Works really good. I used them already a lot, a couple of times. So now you can take your connector and back probe it and connect your test leads to it. So like that, and then this is the snap-on test lead. It works fine. Like that. It actually has a good snug fit on it as well, so that works pretty good. Like that. Okay, so something else I want to show you guys that really works well. Many times we are in a situation where the component or the connector is too far from us. We cannot get to it, and the other day I was actually working on a Yukon, and I was gonna back probe checking the AC compressor, and it was way down on the passenger side, way below at the bottom of the engine, and it's just it was really hard to get to it, get the hand down. So what I did, I made an extension, and I'll show you how easy it is, and this really works really well. So right now I'm just gonna use a heavy gauge wire. I'm not sure what the gauge is. You can see it, guys. This is one that's used for like a 210 volt, for household rough wiring. So that's the wire. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the piece. So with this you can customize it whichever you. So I'm going to cut the piece off and cut this end a little bit. Cut the insulation on the other side. Okay, so and you can take them and just kind of straighten it down the best you can. It's not really. I found that the longer it gets, it's going to get more. It's going to be easier to bend, but this really works pretty good. So I mean, if you I'll show you what I'm doing anyway. So anyway, now on this one, it's pretty easy as well. This time I'm just going to use a 4mm adapter, the connectors. So I'm going to use a male and female this time. So again, on the female, I'm going to use the shallow end as well, and I'm just going to put it in there, fill it up with solder, and too much of flux on it, that's fine. And now I'm just going to take my wire and put it in there. Okay. And what I do, I like to twist the wire a little bit so that the solder gets on it pretty good. So again, we got a little bit of extra solder on the sides. I'm just going to take the cutter and cut that off, and I'll file it later on. So just make it nice and smooth, because we will again cover this with our shrink tube. And on this end, on the other end, I'm going to use a male connector, the 4mm again, just a male connector like this. I'll put that in. Fill it up with the solder again. And I'm not sure what gauge is this wire. Honestly, I'm not an electrician, so I'm not sure, but it's just one that's used for, you know, 210. So there you go. Just take another end and just put it in there and twist it around a little bit and tug it. Make sure, you know, pull it up, pull it a little bit, make sure it's good. This one looks pretty good as well. So now you have this. Something I do not like about these males, they spin around like that, and I'm not really crazy about that, but it's okay, it is what it is. Okay, so now this is a little bent, so I'm just gonna make it a little straight. So I'm gonna take my file and file this solder here. Just cleaned it up, and you're gonna put repeat the process. We're just going to take the shrink tube and cover it up, and it'll be done. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want to kind of clean up all the rough edges if you have any. So it's just going to look like this. It's nothing to it. Okay. So now we're just going to cover the both ends with the shrink tube, and you're going to have a nice extension if you need to. So I'll show you all different ones that I made. So I'm just going to take the shrink tube and take another one. Okay. Alright, we're done. Okay, so with this one now, again, so with this adapter, of course we can put our pin, and then if there's something that's recessed, it's hard to get to, you know, we can get our test lead on it, and we got long reach. We can get to the connector, which is, you know, like this. We got hard time to get to it, so just put it on and wiggle it in, and Bepro your connector. Now we have a good, you know. So I made so many different ones, and I mean, again, they really worked. I really like this. This is the very handy. So I'll show you guys what I mean, I make tons of it, just for like different applications. I make them 90 degree, and the thing about this, you can actually bend it. You know, if there's just have to get around somewhere. So I made long So one problem with this, of course, is because it spins a little bit, so it's like some, that can be a little trouble. But now I actually made just like one that's not 90 degree. I just soldered my pin straight to my wire, so it doesn't spin around. But I mean, this just gives me more options if I need. So like these are actually just one piece now. All these here. This is a 90 degree. So I made different. I was just having fun one day, and so this is like a little 90 degree. Sorry, guys. Again, all these. I mean, I was just having fun with it. But if you have a longer, if you need a longer reach, you just connect these together and you can back probe it. The other day I was working on one car. I was really having a hard time to get to the alternator to check the voltage on the power side, not the alternator, the starter. So I actually made this one real quick. So I was able to go all the way back and touch the wire to check the voltage. So it works pretty good. So again, as longer it gets, it's more malleable, easier to bend, but we can touch some wires with it. And then here I have some shorter ones. If I have some wires that I, different, like male to male, male to female, whatever. I have some from Power Probe, and they work as well. So this is what these actually now, they don't bend at all because they're shorter. But this is just an option. You can, instead of buying these from like Power Pro, this is female to female, you can just make it yourself. I mean, they're, works just as good. So anyway, I was just having fun. There's so many of them now. So, but they really work well. I mean, they do come handy for sure. So. Okay, guys, and these pins are really, I mean, now there are no plastics, involved in it, and everything is soldered together, and they're gonna last for a long time. So, and they are nice and handy. They really are. Okay, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll leave the link in the description to all these pieces that I've been using, that I've used today. Basically just these 2mm, 4mm banana adapters. I got them from China for like a couple bucks for like 50 pieces, whatever. So, okay, guys. Well, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.